Well, after 3 cold and rainy days, it's finally another beautiful afternoon here. I guess summer is finally at last on its way, and I've been looking forward to it. So it's a great afternoon to join me with a tasty beverage of your choice close to hand while we take it what's new in the plant room. And before we get underway, I'm happy to take this opportunity to send out a special thanks to Cassidy, who bought me coffees this past week, and to Amber Schmidt 279, who sent me a super thanks. Your contributions to my channel, no matter what the size of them, goes a long way in keeping me in Hoya, Dischidia, technology, some new stuff, and infrastructure. So I thank you all very, very much for your support. And one more thing before we get underway, I've got some stuff in bloom. And this week, it's my Hoya lacunosa giant leaf. And it's got a couple of peduncles going on down here. Let's see if I can get that to... And they look just like lacunosa blooms always do. They're beautiful. It seems to me that these blossoms are a little bit larger than standard lacunosa blooms. And for me, that's not a complaint. I know it's a mixed response from some folks. Some people don't like them. Some people have described it as smelling like cat pee. I happen to like it, so, you know. This one, the large leaves are measuring almost, I'm going to say 2 3/4 inches, which is about 6.5 centimeters. So yeah, the leaves are larger than a standard lacunosa. I've got right down here in this little mass, there's 1, 2, 3, there's 5 peduncles there. There's another one up here. Yeah, this is one of my favorite lacunosas. It's not splashy, it's not fancy, but I like the leaves and it just blooms regularly for me. It's not prissy and it's actually rather forgiving. It's had to be. It's living in the plant room now. So yeah, but that's what's underway this week. And yeah, it's that scent. To me, it reminds me of the scent that you get when you walk into a flower shop or of hyacinth blossoms in the spring. But then there's the other side of that spectrum where it's been described as cat pee. So maybe I just have weird tastes. Anyway, this is Hoya lacunosa giant leaf.
Hold me tighter, this dynamic says it all.
And the first new thing up this week comes from my friend Mona at Plant Therapy. And I'll put I'll put it over here, her YouTube channel. And she also sells on Palm Street. So I'll put that information over here. And this is one of her seedlings. This is growing from a Rick Masters seed batch. So this is RHM 25104. And it is a species Indonesia crossed with an unknown father. Mona, I thought you'd be keeping, no, it's not Mona. It's Rick who should be keeping better. Anyway, this is really cool. Mona and I occasionally swap plants, and she's always most generous. These are really pretty. They do remind me a bit of a verticillata. Nice raised leaves, or raised veins in the leaves. There's a little bit of a dark margin around the edge, which is kind of cool. I know there's people out there who are suckers for dark margins. There's the back of the leaf. And this one's doing pretty well. She had really good success growing from seeds. So yeah, right on, Mona. And thank you very, very much for this. We'll keep you posted on how this is doing. But yeah, I'm excited to give this a try and see what happens with it. So very cool. I should have some close-ups of the leaves. I should have probably already put those in, but it's doing so well. I'm pleased with that. I'm not worried about it at all. It survived its travels with no difficulties. And yeah, so this is very cool. So this is Hoya species RHM 25104. And this came from Mona at Plant Therapy, so check out her Palm Street store and her channel. Thanks, Mona.
And I'm your animal. Feel like I'm sinking underwater. Feel like I'm going over the falls.
And the next one up is not a Hoya, but it's a very close relative, and this is a Papuahoya. Now this is Papuahoya bykulleana. Now Papuahoya bykulleana is native to Papua New Guinea, the Morobe province, and was collected at a height of 1,574 meters. It was first collected in 2011 by Nathanielle Simonson and her spouse, and I don't have their first name. All I have is F. Johonue, and it was published in 2020 in Wildenoia, Mitteilungen aus dem Botanischen Garten und Museum Berlin-Dahlem by Nathanielle Simonson and Michaela Rhoda. And it's named after Gunilla bicula. And this is my third try with this plant. I had tried cuttings before, but I had not had much success with them. I don't think they liked to travel. I don't think the cuttings liked to travel. That's my take on it, because this one has done very well since its arrival. I can see some rootage. Nothing coming out the bottom yet, but I can see some roots in there. So in the near future, I'm going to upgrade it to one of my standard self-watering pots. It looks to be growing in pure pumice, which I'm starting to almost prefer. And this is pretty much, this section down here, that's pretty much new growth. The last little bit since it arrived, it's only been here a couple weeks. So yeah, having had no success with cuttings, I talked to my friends at the North Austin Plant Company, and they had a rooted specimen going for me, which they saved. And so I'm fingers crossed for this. It's the only Papuahoya I've got right now. There are only 3 named species, at least unless something's happened in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, so this is very cool. I'm very happy about this. I'll put some pictures of the blooms because it did arrive with blossoms. It was ideally coming from a really great setup at North Austin. And the blooms lasted for several days after it arrived, but yeah, I was surprised that they lasted at all. I've got it up on just a makeshift trellis right now because I didn't need this vine flopping all around and banging into stuff. I didn't want to damage the tip. So yeah, we're going to keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best on this one. This is very cool. Yeah, so that's what's new here. Right now it's in their standard self-watering pot. I just added some moisture to it and I'm just left it alone to settle, but it's been a couple of weeks now. So yeah, I think it's time for a long-term care residence. Yeah. This is This is Papuahoya bykulleana, and this came from North Austin Plant Company, and you can find them on Palm Street.
Faster and faster. My heart is bursting through the wall. And just for once I wish we'd stop and smell the roses instead of dreaming of things we miss. Elysian fields could be right under.
And the next new kid on the block is an Alocasia. And since my Hoya wish list is very short and very specific, I've been trying other genera and seeing what's out there. And I had tried Alocasia years ago, and then I discovered spider mites. So spider mites took 3 out of my 4 Alocasia, but I had one that survived. Once I learned how to treat it, I was able to rescue that one. And it's been growing really well ever since. So I thought maybe it's time to try that again. And the first Alocasia up this week is one that's sold under the name of Bisma and Platinum. So Alocasia Bisma, Alocasia Platinum. sometimes Alocasia Bisma platinum. And all I've been able to find out so far is that it's a hybrid, and it's from the Netherlands. It was first released in 2024. And I think those leaves are really, really nice. Now, it's supposed to pick up a more silver color as the leaves mature, and we'll see how that goes. It survived the shipment and has done fairly well so far. It hasn't drooped. It hasn't given me any difficulties. It looks like there's a new leaf starting to develop. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed on this one and see what comes of it. I've got all my alocasias now growing in pure pumice and self-watering pots. And so when I plant things in self-watering pots, particularly in an inorganic mix, I tend to overpot them so I don't have to go in and repot them frequently. So this should be able to be in here for some time. And I haven't found that a difficulty. I haven't noticed any increase in root rot or anything else since the inorganic mix and the wicking system tend to just pull up whatever it is that the plant needs. The first few days I put it in, I always give it a little squirt with my lab bottle just around the top because the roots are only down about this far in the plant right now. So I want to make sure that there's plenty of moisture there for the roots to access, but this is done well. Hanging in there, very excited about it. I think if those leaves get big and silvery, it's going to be a really pretty plant. Yeah, this is doing okay. This is sold as either Alocasia Bisma or Alocasia Platinum, and I'm not going to mention the seller.
Rapture at our fingertips. These confessions of dejection.
And we've got another Alocasia. Actually, there's several more of them, but yeah, that's what I'm playing with right now. So the next one up is my Alocasia scalprum. Now, Alocasia scalprum is native to the Philippines, and it was first published in Gardens Bulletin in 1999 by Alistair Hay. And I just loved the texture on those leaves. I hope that's showing up, but that's very, very cool. I kind of like the long, narrow look. The narrow sinus up top here is also kind of cool. And this one's doing pretty well. Yeah, no difficulties with it. It settled in. I think it lost one of the old leaves, which is kind of to be expected when you're repotting a plant. There were two starts, I don't know if you can see them in there, there and there, in the pot I got, and it was a small rooted, it was tiny little plant. But both of those seem to have settled in well. It's doing well. There's the back of the leaf for those of you who are interested in the backs of the leaves. And again, this one is growing in pure pumice and self-watering pot. I should have some close-ups of the leaves over here too, just so you can see some of the great texture on the surface of these. The leaves, there is some flexibility, but that central rib is rather rigid and will not take kindly to bending. So don't do that. Yeah, they're very cool. It traveled well. It did pretty well despite everything. And despite taking 6 weeks for it to be shipped. But we won't go into that, will we? No. So yeah, but we're doing okay here. This has just been, this is fun. I think it's really pretty. I think it's going to be a really nice addition, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this is Alocasia scalprum.
And some great rapture is lingering in the air. I feel like jumping in your blanket. I feel like climbing in your cave. Your flesh attracts me like...
And another Alocasia that's arrived recently is Alocasia puncakborneensis. Now, puncakborneensis is native to the island of Borneo, which means Brunei, Kalimantan in Indonesia, and Sabah and Sarawak in Malaysia. And it was discovered in Kuching in Sarawak. And let's see, what else do I have here? Kuching, Palawan, Puncak, Borneo, the trail to Batu Pangga at 838 meters. And it was first collected in 2019 and published in 2020 in Webbia, Raccolta di Scritti Botanici, or Webbia Collection of Botanical Writings by Xinyang Wang and Peter Charles Boyce. And I first saw this on Kaylee Ellen's channel, and the leaves were amazing. If you thought scalprum had a lot of texture, this just blew me away. There's not a lot of it showing right now on these young leaves, but I think they're going to be very, very pretty, and they get, a good 12 feet, 12 inches, 12 feet. That would be a huge plant. 12 inches from petiole, from sinus to tip. Yeah, so this has been very, very interesting. I'm excited about it. I have a note that says the specific epithet, puncakborneensis, is from the type locality. Puncak meaning the summit of a mountain in Malay, and it's P-U-N-C-A-K, and that's pronounced Puncak, with the emphasis on the second syllable. This was just, I'm very excited about this. I know it's a small plant, but with luck, it's going to do well. And the leaves I saw were just, like I said, just staggering. You can get a little bit of a hint of some of the detail in here, and I have some close-ups over on the side here. But yeah, this is, it didn't wilt, it didn't get depressed, it seemed to settle right in. I did give all of these Alocasia a little bit of a mycorrhizal inoculant when I potted them up, just figuring it couldn't hurt too much. And this one, yeah, like I said, no depression, no wilting, no drooping, just went like rolled right on with it. So yeah, excited. This could be very cool and very pretty when it gets going. Not if, when it gets going. So this has been very cool. This is Alocasia puncakborneensis, and this came with an order I placed with Collective Plants on Etsy.
Your cunning traps me like a cage, and just for once I wish we'd stop and smell the roses instead of dreaming of things we miss.
And another Alocasia is my Alocasia Regal Shields. Now, Regal Shields is a hybrid. It's a cross of Alocasia odora and Alocasia reginula black velvet by Laurie Ann Garner. And this one's not entirely happy with me, but I think it's really pretty. And the reason I ordered it is because the leaves are supposed to get quite large. Now, this one's pouting. It hasn't quite settled in yet, so it's gotten a little droopy. And again, so what I've been doing is, every other day or so, just going in and giving a little squirt to try and make sure that there's some moisture for the roots that are. It had a good root system. There were 2 plants in it, so I had to separate them to try and clean off as much of the soil as I could. Again, it's growing in pure pumice in a larger self-watering pot. There's a new leaf that's unfurling right here. That was there when it arrived, but it is unfurling now. And there's another one on this plant unfurling there. So I'm hoping that it's going to spark back up. The leaves, this big leaf, is just freaky gorgeous. And I'll put some close-ups of it on the side, but that's just beautiful. So yeah, we're going to keep our fingers crossed. The leaves on this are supposed to get huge, huge, which I think would be really cool. I've got a Sumo down here, another hybrid that's doing very well, and it's supposed to have large leaves as well, you would expect with a name like Sumo. So we're going to let this one get settled in, see if we can make him happier, and carry on from there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to some big leaf alocasias, so fingers crossed for me. This one also came from Collective Plants on Etsy, and this is Alocasia Regal Shields.
Right under our noses and rapture at our fingertips.
And the next one up is another Alocasia. This is Alocasia nebula Imperialis. Now, Alocasia nebula is native to the island of Borneo, which means Brunei, Sabah and Sarawak in Malaysia, and Kalimantan in Indonesia. And this was first collected in 1999 in Sarawak. It was published in 2000 in Botanical Magazine or Flower Garden Displayed by Alistair Hay. And you might recognize him from the Alocasia scalprum. This has got, I'm told, the pictures I have seen, it's a very, very platinum silvery background with darker veins. And let's see if I can do the back for it. There's the back of that. Yeah, this came as a starter plug. I was able to clean off the roots with no difficulty, settle it into pure pumice and a self-watering pot. And it hasn't drooped, it hasn't wilted, it hasn't given me any difficulty. These leaves are supposed to get much larger. And I think that on a grander scale will be very interesting and very pretty. Yeah, you've noticed probably that I'm steering away from some of the crazier Alocasia that they just, maybe I'll try them later, but they just don't work for me. This kind of stuff, however, is like, oh yes. So we're going to give this one a shot. It's done pretty well. It traveled well. No issues, no trauma, no drama. So fingers crossed for me. I think this is going to be really, really, really pretty. This is Alocasia nebula Imperialis, and this one came from Salad Beard Farms on Etsy.
Instead of dreaming of things we miss, Elysian fields could be right under our noses and rapture at our.
And next up, we have what is sold as Alocasia shattered glass. Now, this is either Alocasia heterophylla or Alocasia boysiana, and I've seen information on two different sites that contradict each other, so yeah, I don't know the answer to that one yet. You'll most likely see it as just shattered glass, and that's due to the markings on the leaves, and I'll put some close-ups of these leaves over here. Yeah, the first time I saw this one, it's like, I need the modeling, the light and dark variation on the leaves is just staggering, and it's supposed to be stable. So yeah, it should not revert. This one was a little weepy its first day or two here. Again, it came as a nice plug, nice setup. I cleaned off the soil and got it settled in with a little bit of mycorrhizal inoculant in pure pumice and a self-watering pot. And although it had a decent root system, it took it a little bit longer than some of the others to really be happy. It's only been here about a week, and the leaves, the stems have started to straighten back up a little bit, but it's still kind of flexible. So, you know, once I get it settled in, every couple of days, I just go in and make sure that there's some extra moisture in the top part of the substrate. Yeah, I think this could be, I'm excited about this one because of the markings. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. It traveled well. There weren't any difficulties with it. It was easy to clean up. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed and see how it goes. This one's living, I haven't told you where the others are living, but they're all living out here on the porch right now. So they get bright in direct light. Sometimes they get a little bit of direct sun, but yeah, but I can change that if they don't seem to be appreciating it. So yeah, this one's really cool. Happy about this one, looking forward to what we can do with this. So this is either Alocasia heterophylla shattered glass or Alocasia bykulleana shattered glass. Not sure which, but you know, give it a try if you're interested. This one came from Salad Beard Farms on Etsy.
Hold me tighter, this dynamic says it all.
And now something that's not an alocasia. This is my second try with Anthurium crystallinum. Now, Anthurium crystallinum is native to Colombia and Panama. It was first published in 1873 in the catalog of Jean-Jules Linden. And it was published by Jean-Jules Linden and Edouard François André. And the remarks on the herbarium sheet say Peruv. So that to me would mean Peru, but it's supposedly not native. So maybe parts of Peru were known as, I don't know, parts of Colombia were known as Peru. Anyway, that's what the notes say. This is just, that's just beautiful leaves. Now I know that Anthurium sometimes like a little bit higher humidity, and they can tolerate slightly gentler light. I've had really good success with what we sometimes refer to as the Dutch Anthurium, the Anthurium andrianum. And I wanted to try something else. And according to Kaylee Ellen, this is a good starter Anthurium. It looks like there are two starts side by side in the bottom there, which is fine with me. I was able to clean off almost all the soil and settle it into, and I'm doing this one in pumice, pure pumice, and self-watering like the others because that has been working for me. And, I can tell just by looking at the indicator what the water level is in the pot. So I'm hoping that means there's going to be less guessing and maybe more of getting it right. This is how it showed up. So it was a decent sized plant, with those just beautiful, beautiful leaves. I'm hoping I can keep this one going. The last one I had, I tried it it showed up it wasn't from the same cellar, it was a different cellar. And it was in kind of a peaty, barky mix. And I kept it in that for a while, and it did okay, but not great. So I thought I would move it into the same kind of mix that my Anthurium andrianum was in. And I did that, and it wasn't happy enough. I think that the moisture supply was not consistent. That's on me, but hey, what can you do? So I moved it one more time into my typical typical organic mix, which is cocoa husk chunks and pumice and fine bark and long fibrous sphagnum in a self-watering pot. But I think it was just a little too far gone to survive that, and it didn't. So again, I wanted to try one. And since this one has arrived, or since it had arrived, it has not given me any. Let's see if does it want to go there? Let's see if it wants to do that. It has not given me any difficulties. No, that's better. Not presented any grief or problems. It lost one of the original leaves, a small original leaf, but I'm fine with that. And I think that's just beautiful. So we're going to try a fancy Anthurium. It may need to come into the plant room for the winter, but thinking of bringing in another humidifier for the living room. That's where this will most likely be living, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, so right now it's living over here behind me, over there. So it gets a little bit of direct afternoon sun. And other than that, it's bright and direct. So it seems to be doing okay with that. It didn't wilt. It didn't give me any drama or trauma. So yeah, I'm psyched. Keep your fingers crossed for me with this one. It's kind of cool, and I would like to have an Anthurium success again. So yeah, this one came from Cool Active Plants on Etsy, and this is Anthurium crystallinum.
And I'm your animal. Feel like I'm sinking underwater. Feel like I'm going over the falls. My mind spins faster and faster. My heart is bursting through.
And if you're a longtime watcher, you know that I'm the guy who has had no luck growing Monstera. I can only grow one type, and that's Monstera adansonii. And that grows really well for me, but deliciosa, can't get it to work. I had some success with sultapicana, but long-term that didn't work out well either. So I thought now would be a good time to try an experiment, and I'm trying a Monstera deliciosa, Thai Constellation, in self-watering and pumice. Now, Monstera deliciosa is native to Guatemala and Mexico and the Gulf Coast southeast and southwest of Mexico. It was first published in 1849 and the title's in Danish, and my Danish is even worse than my Dutch, so bear with me. Wetenskabelige meddelelser fra den Naturhistoriske Forening I København, or Scientific Announcements from the Natural History Society of Copenhagen. Now, it's called Thai Constellation because it was supposedly developed in the labs in Thailand, and it is now in tissue culture. And there was a time when this plant would cost you at least triple digits, if not quadruple digits, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It's in tissue culture now. You can get these plants for 20 bucks. I know. Sometimes it does pay to wait. This advantage to this plant is that the variegation is supposed to be stable. It will not revert to solid green, and develops all the great physical characteristics of a Monstera deliciosa, the fenestrations, the windows, the whole bit. The splits, the fenestrations, all that. So I thought it'd be worth a try. And since I was ordering from someone who had this already, or had this in their inventory, I thought I'll just include one and we'll give it a shot. So as I said, it's planted in pure pumice and a self-watering pot. It was a little droopy when I first moved it into this setup, but it has since sparked back up, and the petioles feel nice and firm. So I'm excited about it. It looks like it's starting to develop a new leaf. I don't know if that'll show up, but it's right on the back of that leaf, which would be very cool. It only lost one leaf, and that was an old, tiny little leaf. So we're excited about this. Yeah, I tried one of these once before. It is still with me, but I don't think it's going to make it. The only thing I have left to try is to bring it out here and see if maybe increased light. It was originally in a really standard traditional cocoa coir kind of mix, and I thought, well, I'm going to up pot it a little bit. Check the roots. The roots were fine. Made up some of my standard aroidy kind of mix with cocoa husk chunks and pumice and fine bark, airy stuff, just a little bit of long fibrous sphagnum. and it did okay, but it didn't seem really happy with that. So at a later point, I thought I would try it in pond and self-watering. And my guess is that might have been, I'm looking over here because it's in the living room in there. It may have been too far gone to handle that transfer really well. And the only thing I have left to try is maybe some more light will help it. So I'm going to try bringing it out here and see what happens. But I got this just in case. And so far it's doing really well. I was happy with the plant I received. It's all very cool. And we're going to see what happens. I already put a stake in just in case it needs it, which with luck it will. And we'll see how it goes from there. This is really cool. I'm happy with it. This came from Cool Active Plants on Etsy, and this is Monstera deliciosa, Thai Constellation.
And just for once I wish we'd stop and smell the roses instead of dreaming of things we miss. Elysian fields could be right under our noses, and rapture at our fingertips.
And I'm trying one more Monstera. I know, I was either foolish or brave or some combination thereof. But this is Monstera deliciosa Compacta. And I first saw this on Kaylee Ellen's channel, and it just fell in love. It's supposed to develop all the standard features of a Hoya deliciosa. So fenestrations and splits, same leaf shape, everything else, but it's just supposed to be in a smaller size. So smaller leaves, smaller, more compact plant. And I got a nice, healthy cutting with a good aerial root on it, like a really good aerial root, and it had a start. And this has at least doubled in size in the week or two that it's been here. Now, I read a few places that said that it was a really slow-growing plant. It took a while to develop. That's not been my experience with this start. It seems to be just like chugging right along. The plant shifted in the shipping, so this one leaf got damaged, and it's fading, but it hasn't fallen off, and it's still working for the plant, so I've left it there. It seems to be doing really well. I'm excited about that. I should have some close-ups of this little shoot that's coming out. I'm like a really big thumbs up on this one. So again, it's growing in pure pumice and a self-watering pot. It's growing over there in, just pulled back slightly from my east-facing window, northeast facing window, and it seems happy. So yeah, this is a little bit pricier than I probably would have normally done, and I need to put some more pumice in here, but it was kind of a treat to me, so there we go. I'm happy about what's going on down there. This one came from Garden Gator on Etsy, and this is Monstera deliciosa Compacta.
These confessions of dejection and despair, when some great rapture is lingering in the air, I feel like jumping in your blanket.
And still one more experiment, and there's not much to show yet, but I'm excited, and that is, I'm trying Caladium. Now, Caladium is native to Argentina, to the northwestern part of Argentina, to Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, French Guiana, Honduras, Nicaragua, Panama, Peru, Suriname, and Venezuela. And it was first published in 1801 as a species in Magasin Encyclopédique ou Journal des Sciences, des Lettres et des Arts, or the Encyclopedic Magazine or Journal of the Sciences, Letters, and Arts by Etienne Pierre Vantenon. Reading skills. And I saw them on Kaylee Ellen's channel. I've been watching a lot of Kaylee Ellen lately. She's so much fun. And she was talking about Caladium, and she showed me Caladium that like she was talking to me, that weren't what I typically thought of. I usually thought of the pinks and the really garish stuff, and that never attracted me, which is why I never really looked at them before. But then she showed me some of the stuff that she ordered, and I thought, okay, well, let's give that a try. And I got some more self-watering pots and planted them up. They come in like the tuber, look like a potato, like my Stephania Pieri, or there's one other one I have, the other one from Brazil. And they only like it in the warmer temperatures, so temperature needs to be like 65 or above, and it's finally there. And although you might not be able to see much, right down there, there's a shoot that's coming out. Now this one I started early in May. So this is now about 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks. And I kind of pulled back the pon and looked, and there's some other shoots getting ready to come through too. So about 4 weeks of warm temperatures and regular moisture until you get start. From what I've been told, they don't like a lot of direct sun. They'll take a little bit, but they like bright and direct light. So I'm trying this experiment. This one's growing in my pure pond mixture, generic pond mixture. And I have a couple others that I'm growing in a mix of cocoa coir and pumice, just to see if they sprout any faster or if anything more interesting happens sooner. This one I planted about a week after the first one, and I've got 2 more out here that I planted just last weekend. So we're going to see how they go. I mentioned that they can sometimes be really, really garish colors. The ones I picked, and I got images of them from the seller's website. So, and I'll mention the seller too. So I'm giving them credit up front for these images. The first one I started was Candidum Jr., Candidum JR. The next one is Frog in a Blender. Love the name, like the markings. Then we have Florida Clown. And finally, Burning Heart. So we're going to see how these do. They're not cold hardy, so I will need to bring them in the winter. And essentially, I'm under the impression that you more or less let them die back and dry out. And then in the spring, start watering them again, and they spark right back up. But I thought they'd be fun out here. I thought they'd be something really different that I haven't tried. And yeah, so we'll keep you posted on what happens. I'm excited. My Caladium bulbs all came from Crazy for Caladium on Etsy. And these are this one actually. This is the start of they. We'll keep you posted. And now it's time for the question from the comments. And this one comes from, I hope I pronounced this well, Azier. That's my guess. And the question is, do you or did you ever use a foliar spray like Orchid Mist or Supergrowth Elixir Water or a DIY spray on your Hoya or orchids? And the answer is yes, I did. And it seemed to work fairly well. And I don't anymore, and I'll explain the rationale behind that. They worked fairly well. It was expensive. Then I found on Fern's channel, she had a recipe for her homemade foliar spray. And so I used that for a while, and nothing wrong with that. It works fine. But when I started moving everything to pond and self-watering and started using my nutrient solution, then I stopped using the foliar spray because it just seemed unnecessary. The nutrient solution contains, excuse me, The nutrient solution contains almost everything the plant will need. So spraying more fertilizer on the leaves or the aerial roots, it seemed one more step that was just unnecessary and an expense and something else. I didn't want to have to mix up that stuff on my own to do it. Now, if you're not using a nutrient solution, then I found that the foliar spray worked pretty well. If you're growing in a bark mixture, as you would for orchids, you could just use orchid fertilizer. And they usually tell what it's a weekly or something, or you dilute it by half or something like that. You follow the instructions that they give you. The foliar solution was nice. The foliar spray was nice, but then you have to take it someplace to mist it. So I ended up having to carry everything outside or to the tub or the shower and spraying it in there. So for me, because everything's in self-watering now, that just makes far more sense. So yes, I don't have anything against it. I did use it for a while, but I don't anymore. So there you go. Thanks for sending in that question.
Your cunning traps me like
And finally, the question for the comments, and it's kind of prompted by everything that I talked about in this week's video, is what are you trying that's really outside your comfort zone, your range of experience, something that's really different for you? For me, it's the Monstera because I've had no luck with them. So that's kind of weird. Not weird, but it's like, it hasn't gone so well in the past. What's going to happen this time? So fingers crossed. But the other one's the Caladium. I had this image in my head of what Caladium looked like, and as I said, they were all pink and bright colors and a little garish and not really for me. I'm not a pink plants kind of person, although I did look at the shirt I'm wearing. But anyway, not a pink plants kind of person. So once I saw that there were things other than pink Caladium, I was like, oh, I'm going to give that a try. And I've had luck with other tuber plants or rhizomatic plants. I'm not sure which one it is. I'll have to go and look. But yeah, so that's what I thought I would try. So what are you trying that's outside your comfort zone, or that's, something of an experiment for you? And we'll see what people are up to, and maybe I'll pick up more ideas. Like I need those. But yeah, tell it, and also mention how it's doing for you. If it's doing well, then let us know about that. So that would be cool. And as always, I want to thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me this week's end. Please remember to click the thumbs up like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell. And if you're on a mobile device, when you're all done commenting and reading and doing everything you need to do, click on that hype button. All of those things affect the YouTube algorithm so that YouTube recommends my channel to other people who may be searching for topics like Hoyas and Dischidias and rare plants and Monstera. Who knows? But they all really help the channel grow, and it's a way that you can contribute to the growth of the channel. A lot of the products that you've seen me use are available on my Amazon storefront. There's a link in the description below, or you can scan this code, this QR code, with the camera app on your phone, and it will take you to the code, or to the Amazon storefront. I receive a small commission on the sale of the items from the storefront. It doesn't increase your price whatsoever, and it's a great way of helping to support the channel by buying things you would normally buy anyway. Some of you already know, but I have a relationship with Sansi Corporation, and if you click on the link in the description or use this QR code, scan this QR code with the camera app on your phone, and use this discount code at checkout, you'll receive a 30% discount from the prices you find on their site. I've been really happy with my Sansi lights. I've been mentioning I'm doing research now to get something to put in the living room to help out this upcoming winter in addition to the humidifier. So I receive a small commission on the sales of purchases made from the Sansi site. It doesn't increase your price whatsoever, and again, it's another way of helping to support the channel. If you'd like to support my channel directly, there's a link in the description to my Buy Me a Coffee page, or you can scan this QR code to visit the Buy Me a Coffee site. Or if you'd like to work through YouTube, there's a link down here, a thanks button. And if you click on that, YouTube will take care of all the processing for the thanks. Usual, I'm going to put a couple more links over on the side here to videos you might find useful or at least entertaining. And please enjoy the rest of your week's end.
I'm going